what went into the number change? Because you have become Agent Zero.
Mr. Jones, he wasn't giving it to nobody. So I was like, okay, let me try again for my second year. He wasn't having it. So I went with 13. Gave it one last chance. Paxton Anderson, best friend of mine from college, locker teammate, Jerry Jones' grandson. He was able to talk to his mom, Charlotte. And before I know it, like, they telling me it's a go.
The fact that it was Jerry Jones's grandson. Oh my gosh. Bro, I can't get over this.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Schultz Report, presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. I'm your host, NFL insider Jordan Schultz. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year. Phone lines are buzzing, teams are listening, and I have the inside lane on some potential big deals. Of course, Keyshawn Johnson will tap in. I know he has a lot to say. And DeMarvion Overshown, Dallas Cowboys star young linebacker, the man they call Agent Zero, is joining us today to talk about his unbelievable journey and return to the game. Lock in and let's go. Other sports books just don't hit right, but FanCash makes switching to Fanatics Sportsbook easy. Only Fanatics gives you up to 10% back on all bets, win or lose. You can use your FanCash to unlock the world of Fanatics, from more bets to tickets to memorabilia and one-of-a-kind experiences that only Fanatics can offer. Don't leave rewards on the table this football season. Switch to Fanatics Sportsbook and let the FanCash roll in. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app. First up, we have to start in the state of New York, or New Jersey, as many New Jersey residents will tell you. The Jets and Giants had excruciating Week 7s that could ultimately lead to some changes. Let's start off with the 0-7 Jets. I think the key right now is that Aaron Glenn and his staff need to figure out who are his guys. Who do they want to build their program around? Some of the names that teams I know are calling on: Quincy Williams, really good young linebacker, both pass rushers, Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, young safety Michael Carter, who just signed an extension, not to mention Breece Hall, 24 years old, very talented young running back, but is in the final year of his contract, and to my understanding, they've really had no contract extension talk. So when it comes to the Jets, this is a team I'm watching. I'm not ready to say they're going to have a fire sale, but certainly their phone lines are open. The Giants suffered one of the most painful losses in the history, really, of the NFL, giving up 33 points in the final quarter, losing to Denver. They missed 2 point afters. Players were visibly and understandably upset after the game, and I think something will and has to change for Big Blue. The question is, what? Nobody was more upset, and again, rightfully so, than Brian Burns.
117. Oh my fucking God, bro. The fucking Bengals lose that stupid ass shit.
If you actually listen to what he was saying as he came off the field, it was basically, why are we dropping 8 guys? And that's the same situation that we saw against Dallas when the Giants blew that game. Now, that was a tie. This was a loss, a devastating one. And that brings us to the defensive coordinator, Shane Bowen. Now, the staff has already been essentially told they're safe. That's what Brian Daboll said after the game, that they're not planning to make any changes. So to have the assurances from Brian Daboll and really, in effect, Joe Schoen, the GM, that is a surprise to me that you wouldn't see changes after that type of loss to Denver. Now, speaking of Daboll, I think he's hoping that he's connected not only short-term but long-term to Jackson Dart, who's looked really good for the majority of his starts. I think the Giants clearly feel that they have a guy. They have the guy under center the next, hopefully, decade plus. But whether or not that means Daboll is connected to him long-term remains to be seen. Remember, John Mara, the owner, said that we need to see drastic improvement for everyone to keep their job, basically. We've seen some. I'm not sure we've seen enough just yet. Now, with all that said, I still think it's realistic from everything I've been told to expect the Giants to pursue another wide receiver. Now, had they beaten Denver as they should have, I think they would have been much more aggressive because they would have been in a really good spot in the NFC East, NFC wildcard picture. Nevertheless, the idea, the concept, the notion of getting Jackson Dart, another pass catcher, is appealing to that regime. I think the two biggest names that have been attached to the Giants from a trade perspective, probably Chris Olave, who caught 2 touchdowns last week, and I said last week I don't think he's going to be dealt, and then Jalen Waddle, who I think Miami is open to moving. He has a very reasonable contract, mid-20s, but there will be a hefty asking price. So I'm not sure the Giants are going to go big fish hunting, especially after the loss, but I do think someone like a Rashid Shaheed, someone like a Jacoby Myers potentially, maybe a lesser known, less expensive player could be available for the G-Men. Traveling south to Jacksonville, last week I said that if the Jags won in Week 7 in London, they would be aggressive at the deadline. The Jags, however, lost, and they got throttled by the Rams. So all that's to say, this is a big week for the Jags front office because at 4-3, you're firmly in the mix in the AFC. Do you want to go for it this season, or do you want to stay stagnant? I think the loss, though, was a big wake-up call. Now, we had talked about potentially adding depth up front to your front seven, to your interior defensive line. I think that position makes sense. I do think it's worth noting that this regime has already shown that they're not bashful. Go back to draft night, where they traded a ton to get Travis Hunter. So they will make a big move or two if they believe it's on the table and it's for the taking. With that in mind, they also play the Raiders and Texans after their bye. So they have the Raiders going in to the deadline and then Houston. So 2 potential winnable AFC games. If you think you can get to 6-3, maybe you are more aggressive. Again, this is a lot of introspection, not only this week, but going into the bye and certainly heading into the trade deadline. Traveling further south to the beautiful South Beach, the Miami Dolphins show gets worse every week. Another massively disappointing loss, this time on the road in Cleveland. A Tua benching, a Jalen Waddle injury. Mike McDaniel now says, quote, "Everything is on the table." What does that mean for the Fins? Well, we told you last week that they weren't planning on making any sudden changes, specifically to the coaching staff. If they are going to make a move, I think it's more likely they make a move in the front office, at least before they make a move to the coaching staff, specifically regarding Mike McDaniel. Now, whether or not they want to be trade sellers remains to be seen. But here are the key names people are calling on. We mentioned Waddle, but the 3 pass rushers, Matthew Judon, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb. So all 3 are garnering interest. And in regard to Chubb and Phillips, you could get a very good return considering their age and production. So Miami's certainly a team to monitor these next couple weeks. But I'll tell you who's not on the move, Devon Achane. I think he is firmly in the mix in terms of the future of this organization. He is a definable guy. It's rare to get a big-time elite running back at a discounted price. He's still on that rookie deal. He eventually will get paid. I think Miami will pay him. I don't see him getting moved. So like their AFC East foe, the New York Jets, the Dolphins, I'm not sure they're ready to have a fire sale just yet. But again, their phone lines are most definitely open. How about the Dallas Cowboys? They've been a little up, a little down, but certainly firmly in the mix in the NFC East, coming off a huge win. We already know they have a high-powered offense with Dak Prescott playing at a legit MVP level. And after hanging 44 on the Commanders, I'll tell you this, the Cowboys could very well be in the market for a defensive push, defensive reinforcements. Dallas views its defense as an ascending one, especially when we consider the fact that they're getting back DeMarvion Overshown, their star linebacker, who last season was really playing at an all-pro caliber level before injuring his knee and missing the remainder of the year. He's now back, as we reported, and he's going to be joining us in a few minutes on the show. Agent Zero, I mean, that guy is as dominant as it gets from the linebacker position, and it's so significant because Dallas views him as like a superstar mid-season acquisition in a trade. That's what they view his return as. So when you consider that and the fact that the defense has shown some life, it's my understanding that Jerry Jones has been making phone calls potentially for the opportunity to go out and get another defensive player. Maybe it's using one of those picks they got in the Micah Parsons trade. Maybe it's leveraging what we have now, which is a potential playoff team, to improve our defense even more with Overshown already coming back. This Bears-Ravens game in Week 8 could be a huge turning point for both franchises, depending on the outcome. For example, if Baltimore wins, they're 2-5, and with the AFC, especially the AFC North right now, you have an opportunity to get back into contention with Lamar Jackson. What if the Bears win? What if the Bears move to 5-2? That could trigger a domino effect for that organization. Now, Bears GM Ryan Poles has been very aggressive in the past when it comes to the deadline. If he's a seller, he goes out and sells Roquan Smith or Chase Claypool. If he's a buyer, he goes out and gets someone like a Montez Sweat, a big-time pass rusher. It really depends on what direction he feels the franchise is going. And with Ben Johnson and the opportunity to maybe win 4 straight, if you're 5-2, Chicago is absolutely a team to watch, to be very aggressive when it comes to the deadline. And to that point, if the Ravens win with Lamar coming back, I do think the AFC North, at least to them, is still in play. It's in contention. So they could be very aggressive. The Bengals are doing exactly what they need to do: compete and win as many games as possible before Joe Burrow returns. So what happens should the Bengals win? If they beat the Jets and they go to 4-4, with the way the AFC North is shaping up, the way that Joe Burrow is rehabbing, which from everything I've been told is going excellent, meaning he could be back mid-December, it would be very sensible for Cincinnati to add another player at the deadline. With that in mind, I don't think Trey Henderson's getting traded. In fact, I will tell you this. A lot of teams have called, they've tried, but Cincinnati right now has no intention on trading their star pass rusher. One more team to watch, since we've talked a ton about the AFC North, the Cleveland Browns. Now, they've already made some moves. They're not done. I don't get the sense, though, it's going to be anything huge. In other words, it won't be Shedeur Sanders. So there's a lot of teams looking for quarterback help, especially young quarterbacks. Shedeur Sanders will be a Cleveland Brown moving forward. So this weekend, I took to Twitter to confidently say that parity in the league is at an all-time high. And I know some of you flame me for that take, but I stand on it. Case in point, 13 teams, almost half the league, have 2 losses or less. In the NFC West alone, you have 3 teams: Seattle, the Rams, the Niners, all tied for first. It took a 33-point fourth quarter game for the Broncos to beat the Giants at home. And how about the AFC East? Look at Buffalo and New England. Both those teams with 2 losses. Both those teams legitimate division contenders. Any week, anytime, anything could happen. All right, now it's time, as always, we bring in a man who once refused to play for Coach Hayden Fox's Orlando Breakers, Mr. Keyshawn Johnson.
What's up, man? What did you do? Go back in the archives and look to see what the hell I was doing when I was in college?
On this program. Were you a good teammate?
Oh, one of the best. If anybody ever told you I wasn't a great teammate, they're fucking lie.
You know who told me you weren't a great teammate? Warren Sapp.
Again, if anybody ever told you
I know that's
that
your
I
guy.
wasn't a great teammate,
I know that's your guy.
Lie.
You love Sapp, one of your favorite people.
He's an interesting character. Let's just say that.
I'll tell you who else is an interesting character: Aaron Glenn. It seems like every week we come on and we talk about him, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, what does he need to do? And what can he do to fix this thing?
As I always try to tell you and educate you and others, if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. Cincinnati Bengals realize that. If you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win. And Justin Fields, for whatever odd reason, Jordan, he's not ready. He's just not ready. And it's hard to turn to Tyrod Taylor, because I personally think Tyrod Taylor is a better quarterback right now than Justin Fields. But when you invest that type of money in Justin Fields and you want to give him an opportunity to show that he can play the position, it has to balance itself out. And it hasn't balanced itself out for Aaron Glenn and the New York Jets. And I'm sure they just don't want to completely just scrap Justin Fields and throw him into the wolves. So they're trying to give him every opportunity, and it's not working out. Really isn't. And it's frustrating to watch.
Knowing Aaron the way you do, what do you think his message is?
I think his message would be just stay the course. Like, let's just keep chopping wood. We're doing some things right, but we're doing more things wrong. We need to correct the wrongs and continue to do the things that we're doing right. That's kind of the message. And just hope that it turns. Whenever you take over a program, it could be any type of program. It could be business. When you bring in a new CEO, they brought in a new CEO for a reason, because somebody wasn't getting the job done. Not because the CEO term ran out. because they're not getting the job done. They want to turn profit. There's no difference in football. You got rid of the coach because you needed to bring somebody in to turn it around. You have to give them the opportunity and a chance. We watched Detroit Lions play last night.
Yeah.
Okay. The Detroit Lions was on a different level. They wasn't on that level 4 years ago, 5 years ago when Dan Campbell took over. They're on that level now. So you got to give him an opportunity to see what happens. Let him make some staff changes, do, all of those sort of things.
Yeah, to that point, Campbell's first year in Detroit, they were 0-11-1. And obviously, Aaron Glenn was on those Dan Campbell staff, so he's seen it. It's hard to turn a program around, especially one that hasn't won in a really long time. It's very hard.
No matter what coach you put into the situation that Aaron Glenn took over, it wasn't going to hit pay dirt the next day. It just wasn't. It doesn't work like that. If you look at any of these teams, there's a reason coaches get hired. There's a reason there's openings because the team sucks. And so you have to give them an opportunity to turn it around and get players in and players out and contracts solved. And you got to do all of those things. You could just go and look at long laundry lists. Todd Bowles takes over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That was a winning football program when he took over. That wasn't a dumpster fire. He took over a dumpster fire with the New York Jets. Okay? Callahan took over a dumpster fire that I probably would have never got rid of Rabel, but they got rid of Rabel. They hired Callahan, but they gave him 2 seasons essentially, and nothing changed. You didn't see anything. And I think this is the same message that I'm giving to the Jets and the ownership there is that you got to give it time. We're talking another year. Let's see how it goes. Let's see what happens. Look at Gannon out in Arizona. You get same program that they were. What's changed? It's the same program. Nothing's changed. They win in the same amount of games every single year. So you got to look at it.
I would stick with Justin Fields because I saw what Tyrod Taylor brought to the table. I know it was a small sample size, but it basically looked the same. And Fields you have invested in, I think it was 40/2. If you were the head coach of the Jets, you would go to the veteran, you go to Taylor?
I probably would not at this point. I'd probably stay with Justin Fields. But at some point, he's got to give me something. I don't need you looking at one reading and running. I need you to be the quarterback. I need you to be a QB. And part of it is my fault as a head coach because I may have the wrong offensive coordinator. I may have the wrong quarterback coach. I just got to look at it. And I know it's hard to see it, but sometimes first-time play callers, it's just not it. You may want to have a first-time play caller with a veteran old wizard hanging
Aaron
around
Rodgers?
him, teaching him. No, not Aaron Rodgers. No, not Aaron Rodgers. But you want to have a guy like,
right.
For instance, you want to go get somebody off the scrap heap that you might know, right? That's just hanging out, not doing nothing. He's the assistant to the head coach. He probably was a former head coach, offensive coordinator, bright mind, but for some reason, the days kind of passed him by. You want to bring that guy in. Like the same thing they're doing in Tampa with Tom Moore. The same thing. He's been there. Every year they get a coordinator. That coordinator's not fresh. That coordinator has Tom Moore still hanging out. Even if he's not calling plays, he's still giving him tidbit reminders of different things, which goes a long way.
Tell you what went a long way. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. We've said they have to get them involved. They have to get the big play going. Smith had a 75-yard touchdown. Brown had 2 touchdowns. My question isn't even about them. It's what do you now do to take it a step further, advance it, and get Saquon back to a version of Saquon from last season? Because ultimately, if Philly's going to make a run, it's going to be because all of that's working.
And they're going to make a run. I know we watched 2 games. We were like, well, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
Again, you have a guy who's a first-time play caller calling plays. He's got to now understand the pecking order in the passing game goes to those 2 guys. Then Dallas Goedert, then Saquon Barkley. But they will open up the run game because the fear of downfield attacking will loosen things up. You can't have 8 men in the box. You can't have 9 men in the box. You can't just load up to try to stop them. Now you have to deal with the receivers out on the perimeter, and they've shown that they're capable of doing that, which is big. They got it on film now. They got it on film. So everybody in the NFL is being put on notice that this is what we can do when we're hitting on all cylinders.
Are you seeing, or did you see enough from Jalen Hurts?
I'm not one of those guys that's getting ready to try to trash Jalen Hurts because he may have missed a read in a game. I'm not that guy. A lot of guys, they get on these TV shows and these podcasts and they try to just go at Jalen Hurts just because that's just something that they want to do. Jalen Hurts is a hell of a football player and a hell of a quarterback. Okay? He's not your traditional sub-zero refrigerator, stand in the pocket, can't move quarterback. He's a guy that has to get into a rhythm. And when you get him into a rhythm, he gets going and he gets cooking and everything is, what it is. Now, look, that throw to A.J. Brown on the sideline late in the game, back shoulder kind of fade situation, that's a hell of a throw. That throw to Smitty for the 70-plus yard touchdown, that's a wide open throw that you will miss. Quarterbacks miss that all day long. I watched Bo Nix miss it 4 or 5 times the other day. So when you start to look at Jalen Hurts, 2-time Super Bowl appearing quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback, been in the playoffs every single year that he's been a starting quarterback in the National Football League. Okay, Super Bowl MVP. But I understand people want to take that away from him and say, well, he has the team surrounded. Yeah, everybody has players around him. That's why it's a team game. We all have players around us that are good. So people can miss me with the what about Jalen Hurts? They can just miss me because when you rip it and throw that slant to A.J. Brown in between two bodies and he sticks his paws out and grabs it, you got to make that throw. You got to make that throw. He had to make it. I've seen people not make that throw in the National Football League that are starting quarterbacks. So that's just my rant for him.
What was your boy's name that you said was the worst quarterback? Not Brad Johnson. Who is it?
Brad was never the worst.
No, I know. Who was the guy you said?
Rick Meyer.
Oh, yeah, Rick Meyer, yeah.
Look, Rick's a nice guy. I like him. But as far as me getting the football, that just wasn't that I could, I would have expected better from a guy who's selected high in Rookie of the Year in Seattle. I thought I was getting something good, but it didn't turn out that way. And sometimes, they over-evaluate a guy, I guess. Nice guy, though.
Yeah, well, he was a really high pick. He is a Notre Dame product. We know the story with Notre Dame quarterbacks not named Joe Montana. So we won't hold that against him. But, yeah, nice guy. Couldn't.
Steve Berline was good.
Steve Berline was decent, yeah. What was your sense on CeeDee Lamb coming back? He obviously made a huge impact. Is that not the best 1-2 punch in football right now?
There's certainly a couple, right? Cincinnati duel, Minnesota duel, these two guys in Dallas. So they're right there. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. And
There's a couple more. I mean, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
There you go. So those are probably the 4 duels that I would look at in the National Football League. Then I could always go Detroit, but Detroit got so much, right? Williams and Amon-Ra, they're right there too.
I guess I would rephrase it and say, with CeeDee Lamb back and with Pickens playing the way he's played and Dak playing really at an MVP level, what would you say the ceiling is for Dallas?
I don't want to get caught up in a couple games and get hyped and think they're getting ready to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going to let Jerry do that because I'm not.
Or let me,
they got a good team.
all the nerds.
No, they got a really good team when they're doing everything right. But for some reason, I feel like they're getting ready to do something really dumb. It just
really
even with
what does Keyshawn know?
Catches what exactly? What do I know? Even when Pickens catches the football and he's running and he's doing something, I hold my breath because I said he's going to do something stupid. I go, just don't do anything dumb, man. Please don't. And he's like, the other day he got a ball and he tried to jump and push a dude.
Right.
And I'm like, just fall out of bounds. But, that's his mentality.
You think right now Dak's the MVP?
MVP. Probably. Who else would there?
Well, I'll tell
you, that kid up in Indy,
Daniel Jones played great. And, I was always I never wavered in my belief. I always said, you said, Duke guy, you can't play quarterback. He's been playing great.
Yeah, he's got the right situation. I like Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott.
How about Mahomes?
I mean, obviously, he's gonna always be there in the conversation.
Yeah, last 5 games, 14 touchdowns, 1 pick. I mean, Kansas City to me feels like they're ready to explode.
Nobody's beating them in the AFC. They can punch their ticket. I've seen enough football in the first 7 weeks of the season to make that claim. Who's going to beat them? The Colts aren't beating them. Okay, Chargers aren't beating them. Denver's quarterback drives me nuts into the fourth quarter. Okay, Buffalo doesn't have enough on defense. Pittsburgh doesn't have enough. We know
Pittsburgh,
what the Ravens are. Cincinnati's quarterback eventually is going to turn back into a pumpkin. He's too old to go the course.
they're going to
So when
get
you
Burrow
no,
back.
seriously,
Listen, I think the Chiefs are playing the best football. No one's playing better than the Chiefs. Put it that way. No one.
yes, exactly. So they can punch their ticket to San Francisco right now, as far as I'm concerned. Now, when you start looking on the other side, that's a different story. The NFC is a little muddled in terms of, Philly, San Francisco, Green Bay, like who's really real, the Rams. So they'll shake out over the next couple of weeks. You'll start to really see who's coming out of that side of the conference.
All right, Key, we got to run. Congrats on picking against my Mariners and your ridiculous parlay. I'm glad it was worth it. And I cried for 2 hours last night.
All I care about is the Dodgers, but I really wanted to see the Mariners play the Dodgers because I thought it would be cool since the Mariners have never, ever been to a World Series.
I know. Well, they never will. So with that, we'll see you next week.
All right, I'll see you.
Let's welcome to the show a man that is defying incredible odds to return to the field this year, the pride of ARP, Texas, and the Dallas Cowboys, Agent Zero himself, DeMarvion Overshown. An absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for coming on.
Man, I definitely appreciate you having me. Definitely appreciate you having me.
It's our pleasure, truly. I'll jump right in. So after tearing your ACL, MCL, and PCL, the Cowboys announced on December 10th, 2024, DeMarvion, that you would be out indefinitely. What have the past 315 days been like for you?
Look, they've been nothing short of a blessing. When I tell you I've been blessed, I think throughout this year, constantly I've been shown God's grace and his mercy. I felt like I've smiled every day since the injury, so I haven't lost a step. I've been blessed. I got engaged. I had a baby boy. So it's been a lot of blessings going on in my life since that day. So I can say, man, my life's just been going up. Of course, recovering for the knee. That was just another thing added to the plate. But I've been there before, and it's not fun to say that I've been there before, or nobody wants to go through rehab to that extent again. But I walk by faith. So, as soon as the injury happened, as I was walking off the field, actually, some of the first words I said to my trainer, Britt Brown, was, let me know the timeline, let me know what I got to do, and I'm gonna beat it. I felt that whole night. Matter of fact, I listened to a song called "Lord Do It" by Zodiac Cortez, and the whole song is basically, just a testimony of, man, just letting go and letting God, and everything gonna work out in your favor, and it did. So I'm excited. I'm excited to get back out there. Look, watching football, especially for somebody like me that's passionate, that football has done so much for me and my family, that I feel like I owe so much to this game. I owe it to my teammates, and I owe it to myself to just go out there and use that platform to shine and show God's grace. So I'm excited. Look, I'm built up right now, just ready to put on my helmet tomorrow. So I'm excited.
You're ready to strap up right now. You've been waiting.
Look,
it's been a minute.
Right now, I got cleats, I got a helmet, I got shoulder pads from high school here at the house. Like, I'm pretty sure somebody showed up to play football right now. I line it up in my backyard.
So as you were leaving the field, you told the trainer?
I said, let them know. They done the field checks on my knee, the common knee check. Is it an ACL and stuff? So, after doing those tests, they had already knew like the causes and what the major issues was it. So I knew. He asked, do you want the cart or do you want to walk off the field? And I already knew like I wasn't gonna be on the field the rest of the year for some time. So I told him, you know what, just help me up. I'll walk off the field. And yeah, as we walking off the field, I'm asking him like, bro, just let me know. You don't even have to tell me how serious the injury is. Just let me know how long you think and what I got to do to be back. And he did. And now we both get the hug. And I know we'll share some tears tomorrow before I go out there and practice for the first time.
What did he say the timeline would be at that point?
He said, it's too early to tell you that right now. He was like, I don't want to give you a timeline and it not be correct because things like this, takes time. And for a minute he was like, depending on how the season going, like you might not play. It might not be a 2025 season for you. So he had to, let the reality be the reality just to, how major the injury was. But, he said, but a guy like you that, he done seen me work. He said, we can have you back by mid-season if that's what you really want to do. And I told him that's what I want. And we never looked back from then.
Having gone through this before and understanding what it takes mentally, not just physically, to recover, how do you think you're better from this now?
Oh, way better. Way better. I feel like, 80, 90% of the battle coming back from an injury is the mental part of it. So earlier on, I feel like if you get that out the way, after the surgery days, and just keep your spirits up. Like I say, keep your faith up. I feel like that's the big part of it. A lot of people get down because, like I say, you take something away from us that means so much. Like a lot of people look at it as a game, but that game is our life. It's been our lives for decades. It's something that we put our heart and soul into and sweat and tears. So just having that mindset of this is up to me. The event had already happened. Like, I can't change the past. The future is what I make it, and I had to keep that mindset every day and smile while doing it. It's one thing to do it, but it's another to do it while smiling and still being a joy in the locker room and not being a Debbie Downer, to your teammates. So that's the most joy I got out of it, is just smiling while able to rehab.
What went into the number change? Because you have become Agent Zero, and it was a.
Oh yeah.
I remember when you announced it, the team. It was really cool how it all came together.
Look, I think college, going to Texas, and when I made that switch to zero, my career, I feel like it was kind of a shift in my career. That's kind of where a lot of people started noticing who I was once they made that zero change, and it became kind of like an identity, on the field of look, that's Agent Zero, and that's part of just the way I play, like being everywhere, being around the ball, just flying around, playing for the love of the game. So when I got to the NFL, it was the first year, so that was already a sign. Like, look, this is for me. Like, ain't nobody else repping zero like me, so this got to be for me. But I had to. I went through the 35 my rookie year. Mr. Jones, he wasn't giving it to nobody. So I was like, okay, let me try again for my second year. He wasn't having it, so I went with 13. And I was actually sold on 13. Like I wasn't gonna switch to zero. Like I had almost given up hope. I was like, look, zero is for me. I know it is, but if it's not meant to be, look, 13, it's been a lucky number. All me and my sons all born on the 13th. So look, I was gonna roll with it. I gave it one last chance. Paxton Anderson, best friend of mine from college, locker teammate, Jerry Jones' grandson. So it's getting close to December time, and they want to print my jerseys now.
Right.
13, starting to make a little plays, so sell my jersey a little bit. So it's good. Like I'm happy. I'm excited. But at the same time, like I don't want to go through the process of doing it with 13 when it's still a chance. Like I can get my loving zero. So I make one more phone call and I'm like, look, all I need is a yes or no. If it's no possible way, I'm ride or die 13. We ain't changing no more. Look, my family already done bought 35, 13
Right.
jerseys.
Right.
So I'm already in the hole. Like
Yeah.
I got to come back out of the hole. So I end up doing that. He was able to talk to his mom, Charlotte, and before I know it, like they telling me it's a go. We knew kind of right before the season ended. It's just like they didn't want the word get out because then I gotta do all the jerseys and stuff like that that's in and I didn't want to deal with that.
What, dude, that is a hell of a story.
It's actually crazy. And to be honest, the crazy part is Paxton Anderson, when I was in college, he bought me like baby gifts. I was having my first kid,
Yeah.
and the baby gifts was all Dallas Cowboy stuff and stuff like that. Before I even became a Dallas Cowboy, so like our relationship was already close. So the fact that he was able to come through for me again like this, like, look, we locked in forever. Like zero. I told my family I ain't got to buy no more jerseys. No, look, zero. We here to stay.
I can't get over that. The fact that it was Jerry Jones's grandson.
Grandson.
Oh my gosh, bro, I can't
Grandson.
get over this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Another guy you're locked in for life with, Bijan Robinson, who's like my little bro. We've been very close for a long time, and there's not a better person. There's also not a better football player. But he did say that you were the biggest badass he's ever played with. Obviously at UT. What do you think he meant by that?
From the first time Bijan came in, matter of fact, we worked out together. I was actually recovering from something, and the freshman got sent over to where we was. So I was his first workout partner for a little bit. And bro, I was amazed by how humbled he was because all I heard coming in was number one running back in the nation. Like he coming to take people's spot. Like, bro was out of the world, the most humblest person, most God fearing, most loving man in the like I've ever met. So it was already like, dang, like. But then when I saw him on the football field, it's like, hold on, this not the same guy that's like, ain't no way this is Bijan. Like 'cause under the helmet, he's like a dip. He's a menace. Like he's definitely. I tell people he do stuff that you don't see. Like it's video games type stuff. Like I feel like he's calculating moves before he's even hit, before he even make it the point. So it's like that's all God given. Like you can't coach what he has. And throughout our whole college, years, it would be, me being a linebacker, him being a running back, 1-on-ones. Okay, it's me and him first up. Or even in team periods, like inside run, like look, I gotta fire my squad up and I'm talking trash to his O line. So what he gotta talk trash, he gotta run because it's inside run. Like we know what is going down. So I think we both bought juice to both sides of the ball. We both led in different ways, and that's one thing I can say about him. Man, he was a leader. Like he was a guy that people wanted to be like, not just like football wise, but as a man, a guy. Like people looked at Bijan as man. I want to be that guy. And so, man, the competitiveness in him was unquestionable. Like he said, he was a guy that wanted to win. So it made me better knowing that look, I know this guy want to win and he's talented to do it versus anybody. So it's one of those things where iron sharpens iron.
You saw him off the field, and he's the best guy. And then he gets on the field, and you're like, is that him? Because obviously you saw the tools, but you're like,
The tools, man, the aggressive, the nastiness,
tenacity, right?
it's like he do so it be nasty. It's like, oh my, like he's so nice, but if you catch him on the field 1-on-1 it don't matter if he finna run you over. It matter if it's open field. He finna juke. It's like it's not nice to be John. It's like you finna get something that's gonna embarrass you, but he's gonna shake your hand at the end of the play. But he finna make a highlight out of you.
Right, right.
But on the off the field, it's like, look, man, he gonna
No, he's
compensate.
such
He
a
gonna be
sweet
nice
guy.
to you. Look,
Yeah.
he ain't what you ain't got to worry about him at all. Just the nicest guy. But on the football field, like he's gonna embarrass you if you don't bring your A game.
And how long did it take for you to realize that he was going to be like, he's a superstar? Like about 2 minutes?
It was really his training camp of his freshman year. He had little breakouts, flashes during team periods. but I believe it was like one scrimmage when he broke for like a 75, 80-yard touchdown, and it was just like untouched. It's like, okay, this guy is special. Like he was putting it together at that point. At first, it was like, okay, he's a freshman running back, but then he became that freshman running back that we all end up seeing towards the end of the year. So we had already seen glimpses of it in practice, making one-handed catches. Like I said, putting people on highlight tapes. It was just a matter of time when he got his opportunity his freshman year. It's like, yeah, that's Bijan Robinson. Get used to hearing that name.
DeMarvion Overshown, top 5 Longhorn running backs.
East Texas, Rose, Earl County.
Great.
I gotta go Earl County just because that's home. And then I'll go Ricky Williams. I'm a big
Cedric
Cedric
Benson?
Benson
Yeah,
guy.
dude, he was
I
unbelievable.
love. I actually met him my freshman year. He came to a class that we was all in, so we got to meet him. Rest in peace to him. But yes, I say him. Then I say Bijan, and then I got Jamal Charles.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I
Jamal
got Jamal
Charles got to
Charles.
be on there. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
yeah.
bro. He was one of those ones. Like, if he had any crease, like it was a touchdown. Like, you got behind him, it was touchdown.
That's a hell of a list.
We RBU for a reason. That's all I gotta say.
Texas has had like iterations of DVU, LVU, RVU.
Look, we got it, and the fact that we rebranding ourselves as that again, like, look, that's the best part about it. Like, during my Longhorn years, we was not the best that we've been in decades, but I was able to see like a foundation being set, being built, a culture being like changed and being like implemented. Like, this is what we going to be built off, no matter what our record is. Like, teams are going to know like this is Texas football. So being able to see that change and what it is now, man, that's why I'm proud to say, like, look, whatever they got going on, I trust in Sark because I seen what he made that program and how he changed the mindset of his players.
What is high school football like in Arp, Texas?
Look, it don't get no better. Look, I like to say one of my favorite movies is Varsity Blues.
A Varsity Blues. Yes.
What about
Great film.
So,
Can I just interrupt you really quick? You know who I was just with last week? Tweeter.
Tweeter, yes.
And,
So
and
look,
I mentioned
we
it
had
to him.
tweeters.
Yeah, you had tweeters.
We had tweeters. So that's the kind of, when I think of ARC football, I think of, man, the shutdown town Friday night lights, family, the people that you grew up with, packing the stands because most of y'all are on the same team, or, family, friends of friends. So it's like the whole town is there. And like you travel when the football bus leave or the band bus leave. It's usually like the cars following, and that's that small town football that, look, it don't matter how big the school is. I come from a town of 900 people, but it's gonna be 300 of those 900, 350 of those 900 at the games on Fridays, like packing the bleachers. So it's nothing better. It's nothing better. You don't need no 20,000 people stadiums. We gonna pack them. We don't matter where we at.
Texas high school football is one, right? And,
Come on,
and not even okay because we've
Texas
had
football is one. Everybody else is
Florida,
two A,
California.
2B. Like Texas is one. Everybody else 2A, 2B. However you want to put it.
I don't know. Couldn't you? Florida, California, Georgia. I mean,
Texas football is one.
okay, all right, that's it.
Everybody else, come on, it don't compare. It don't compare. Like the talent, like, yes, like you can argue like, okay, what talent, who has the best talent, or who has athletes. But when you're talking football players, people that are bred to play football, people that the atmosphere is second to none, you're not gonna find that where no Texas high school football. It's second to none.
How about the Mount Rushmore top 4 for you all-time Texas high school?
Earl Campbell goes on that list.
Yep.
Patrick goes on that list now.
Yeah,
He's
I would say
worked his
Mahomes
way
and
in.
Breeze,
I like Dez on there too. Dez Bryant.
even though he's not a Longhorn.
Yeah, even though he's not a Longhorn.
We got Earl Campbell, Patty, Breeze, Dez.
That's 4. I can get It's some more, but those are like you can't really argue that four. I mean, that's still a great four. Like
So East Texas and West Texas, very different.
very different. Yeah. East Texas, you're gonna get the piney woods, like the shaded, all the green. West Texas, you're gonna get more desert land, sand.
How similar was your high school experience to like what we saw in Varsity Blues or Friday Night Lights?
Pretty much like bonfires, house parties.
Pep rallies,
I wouldn't say pigs riding in trucks, but you have people driving tractors to school, riding horses to
riding horses
school,
to school.
riding horses to school. So it's every now and then you have a little mix up of everything. It's just the crazy thing is it wouldn't be abnormal. Like you see somebody roll up on like I say, a little tractor or a little, a lawnmower, a riding lawnmower to school, and it wouldn't be strange. Like it was definitely one of those late night bonfires type of towns. We all hit Whataburger after the games on Friday night.
I could talk Texas football all day, and it's a big part of your identity. But
Oh
what
yeah.
there was not a linebacker playing better than you last year. There just wasn't. So what can we expect to see now that you're back?
I would expect, that same thing, playing at the top of my game, you turn on the tape and you would be able to say like, look, this is one of the best, if not the best linebacker in the league. And I only say that just because I know the work I put in, and I know what I'm coming back to. I feel like last year when I was going into it, it was still new to me, so it was still figuring it out at the end. But as I got my feet, really in the ground, I start being comfortable and making those plays. So I expect I campaigned on, and I don't know the requirements of comeback player of the year, how long you got to play, how many games, but that's what I'm chasing when I get back on the field. I already said it ain't gonna be no slack off, no getting back into it. Like I'm coming in primed up. Like ain't no he's coming off of two major injuries or a major knee issue. This he might not be the same player. No, I ain't having none of that. I hold myself to a standard, and my tape I say is my resume, and I don't put bad stuff on tape. So it's go time. If I'm not ready to play, then I won't be out there.
Not the same player. He's better.
Better. Look, I've always came back better from each injury. That's why I never get down. I never get down. I said, look, y'all just gave me a extra 315 days to prime up. I got the best knees in the NFL. Two look, modern day technology is off the charts right now. It's off the charts. It's no better time in the league. If you wanted to tell your ACL,
This is the time.
2024, 2025 is
Yeah.
the best years to do it. It's better
Yeah.
than 1990, 2000. So let me just tell you, people, that it's not one of those things where the horse roll your ankle and you got to take it in the back. It's not. That's not what ACLs are anymore. Like we're not putting people down for that. Like come on now. Like we coming back stronger off these. So I'm very excited to showcase what I got.
If I would have told 8-year-old you're going to play for Texas and you're going to play for the Cowboys, what do you think you would have said?
I would have said I saw that in a dream before. I would have said I saw that in a dream before, and that's what I want to do. I told a lot of stories. I told a lot of lies growing up in English class because you always had to do those essays of what you want to grow up to be, what you want to do, and they always shot down the idea like you can't write about being an NFL player, you can't write about being a professional athlete. You got to write about being a doctor or getting your CDL. So I wrote about stuff like that growing up, all the way until I believe my senior year. I knew what I was doing. Once I got my first offer from college, I said, "Yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm taking care of my family, and it's no other way around it. Like, no matter what happens, I control all that. No matter what happens, I can control all this. I got the opportunity to go play college football. Look, that's all I needed, and it was that. Of course, it was. Look, I'm getting my degree, but I know that the end goal is to be able to walk out of this football stuff saying, look, I poured my life, put my heart and soul into something, not just a game. It was an investment to take care of my family.
I feel you saying that so much that football football is your passion. It's your livelihood, but it's also how you not only provide for your family but create generational wealth and
Yes, sir.
opportunities for generations to come. So I guess I would say this is something that's on your mind during rehab. Are you thinking about this every day?
Thought about it every day. And speaking of that, it was actually, having this time off, you're able to tap into more of that side because you're not so much in the facility, 12, 14 hours a day. So me and a brother of mine, I actually started up a beef cattle operation, grass fed, grain finished. So I actually be dropping a link here soon, and we'll be selling premium beef. So that was one of the things that I was real big about is creating generational wealth. And I told myself I'm gonna be a rancher when I'm done playing this
Really?
game. Look, that's all I wanted to be growing up. I knew, look, it's honest work, but it's something that I love to do. I love animals, but look, I'm a beef guy. My 3-year-old, his favorite meal is steaks. I said, oh, so we gonna put steaks out in the backyard. We gonna grow them myself, and we gonna feed them. We gonna sell them as well. But yeah, that's just one of the things. Generational wealth. Playing this game, a lot of people get in and say, look, I'm chasing that second contract. Like I gotta have that second contract, and uh, a lot of people don't get it. I think the average
No,
players,
it's about three
you hear
years.
two.
Yeah, 2 or 3
About three
years.
years.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a blessing just to be able to touch that money. So, when we out here doing this, yes, it's a game to like you said, it's we love it, and it's our passion and it's our livelihood. But we also look at this as, if my kid don't have to go through the stuff that I'm going through playing this game, like, he doesn't have to. I've put in my sacrifice. I put in, those hard hours of, the 2 a days and the training to do this. And so I'm not I'm doing this just, yes, for the love of the game, but I'm also doing this for the love to take care of my family after, my time done playing.
Very wise and mature beyond your years, dude.
I learned. Look, I'm a man that learn, and you see stories, and I tell people all the time, all this stuff is so accessible. Like, to see players go down this road and they get a grasp of a little bit. You're not raised really to know what to do. It's fast money. Look, when you get that direct deposit, if you ain't have nobody on your team telling you, hey, bro, like, check out, like, you still got some time before you made it. Like, you here, but once you get to this finish line, it's another finish line that you got to get to before you there. And a lot of people, they get stuck and complacent and satisfied with the bare minimum. And I told myself I wouldn't be that. I wouldn't be another statistic. And I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do just that, not be another statistic.
100% the right attitude. Very rare to see it. Yeah, Bijan has the same. Again, I'm just going back to him, has the same type of mentality. I guess I would leave you with this. It's the NFL is a business, and I think the sooner a player can understand that, the better. Unfortunately, it's the reality, and fans, like, their job is to root for their team and their favorite players, but the reality is it is a business. What did the Micah trade? Did that perk up your mind of this is a business at all?
I think a little bit of it did, but I feel like even before then, like, I was already insightful on, like, how much of a business this is. Even my rookie year, like, being hurt. Like, I read my contract, but then it's like, you get hurt in some contracts, it's the injury clause. Like,
Yes.
yeah, they take more than half of your
Yes.
check that first year. So I was unaware of that. So I'm like, I started looking into more stuff like that. But even seeing different faces in the locker room, every day. Some guys coming in for 2 weeks just to play special teams and be done with you. And so just seeing things like that. But yeah, watching, Micah go through it, because I tell people all the time, like, at some of these bonds are more than just teammates. Like these are friendship, these are brotherhood. So you share with each other a lot of what's going on behind the scenes that the public really don't know. So yes, I heard a lot of what was going on with him and how things was moving. I was very aware of like, yeah, this is business, man, and it's friendships that is gonna last a lifetime. But we know, as teammates and as co-workers, like, look, ain't nobody promised tomorrow, and that's just the cold heart of this business. Like, a lot of people don't have to deal with waking up and going to their job and saying, "Hey, we don't want you no more."
That's the NFL. I mean,
It's kind of hard to say. Look, they tell you about this like this before you get to the NFL, but ain't nobody thinking about that when like nobody thinks like that until it actually happens. So yeah, I've learned like, look, this is a business, and as safe as you are, you ain't nobody safe. So you just got to put your foot down and go and go.
what was your reaction to the trade, and how does that relationship with Micah persevere through way beyond just being teammates?
Oh man, we talked, but I think the best thing about it was seeing him and his mom afterwards, and just hearing how that's something that he wanted so bad, and to be able to take care of his mom, to be able to have that generational type of money to take care of his kids. So when you see things like that, you forget all the other stuff that the media is preaching about him doing this or him and Jerry having some. You forget all of that because that stuff don't matter. This man just changed him and his mom's life, his kids forever. Like he's doing something that nobody has ever done that he would never forget. So our relationship just got stronger, man. We still talk to this day. Ain't nothing changed, man. We still joke, and we all know it's love at the end of the day. It's love at the end of the day. If he had it his way, trust me, he'd still be with us every day. So it's love, and I'm looking forward to seeing him later on this year.
Well, I not only am excited for you, the football player, but the person and what you're creating for you and your family off the field, and the professionalism and the respect. And I just couldn't be more happy for you and excited for you, and also appreciative of you taking the time, and to Mr. Shar for setting this up, because there's a lot going on right now in your life, a lot of excitement, and for you to sit down really means a lot.
Man, yes, sir. Look, thanks for having me. Look, I'm honored to be on the show, to be brought on the show. So I tell people all the time, look, it's a good thing to be busy sometimes. It's a good thing to want people to come talk on your like people to want you to come talk on their show. That means you got something that they want to hear about. So I'm always up for it. Anytime, man. I'm here. I'm here.
Wish you the best the second half of the season, and know you're going to take advantage of every opportunity. And again, thank you so much for today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jay. You have a good one, man.
And now for our weekly bets presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. You know the drill. I have not seen these, and I am picking one that I would take between two. So we got Bengals -7 versus the Jets, or Steelers +3.5 versus the Packers. I'm going to go Bengals. I know it's a big number, but Joe Flacco found a ton of synergy with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. They got the running game going with Chase Brown, and the Jets are 0-7. They've been reeling. So give me the Bengals laying the lumber. Next up, Eagles -7 versus the Giants. Bucks -5 versus the Saints. I'm going to go Tampa, although I do like Philly, but I'm going to go Tampa in a bounce back game. They looked really bad. Actually, this is really the only bad offensive overall performance they've had all season. Monday night against the Lions, never got anything going. I like a big bounce back game against a division foe in the Saints. And then we got the 49ers -1 at the Texans, or Denver -3.5 versus Dallas. Give me the Niners. Houston, to me, is still trying to figure out who they are. And right now, they're not giving the ball enough, in my opinion, to Woody Marks, who I think is the best running back on that team. When he gets the ball, he makes things happen. They're not protecting C.J. Stroud. And San Francisco, all they've done is go 5-2. and continue to look like a bona fide playoff team in the NFC West. So give me the Niners against the Texans. I know this is an NFL show, but I'm a basketball guy. If you hadn't heard, I did play 4 years in college, albeit not super successfully. The NBA season starts this week, so a lot to unpack when it comes to hoop. One thing I want to bring up is my conversation with Draymond Green, my co-host on this channel as well. And basically what he said is, this is the first time that he's playing against a LeBron-less team, at least on an opening night. It feels weird. It feels different to him. And after 14 years, to not have LeBron on opening night, especially at this advanced stage in his career, I think it's disappointing. He did say the Lakers do have someone you may have heard of, Skinny Luka, but I was most taken with the fact that Draymond said this was probably the most tickets he's gotten, at least in a long time from a request standpoint, opening night at the Crypto Center, whatever you want to call it, Staples Center in LA. He said, I felt like a rookie, and obviously I can't accommodate all of those ticket requests. So he's sorry to everyone that he said no to for opening night tickets. My finals prediction this year, it may not be a good pick, but I am going to pick the hometown right here in New York, the New York Knicks over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Can't wait. Hoops is here. That's it for this episode of the Schultz Report. Thank you to Keyshawn Johnson and, of course, DeMarvion Overshown for connecting with us today. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll see you on Saturday.